tax and accounting firm, and I do have an outsourced bookkeeper currently, and she's doing great, but I noticed I need someone for tax preparation as well. And they'd have to be able to contact the client, whether it's in a phone call or preferably by email to tell them what's missing, type of thing.
Right.
So I don't know how to hire for that position uh, as a virtual. I'm just starting your classes, so I'm brand new to you.
Yeah, I mean, I own a bookkeeping business. We don't do tax, and we obviously hire a lot of Filipino bookkeepers, but also just VAs that do stuff like client onboarding. So when a client signs up for ecom balance or accounts balance,
Yeah.
we have what we call an integration manager who has a checklist of everything we need, and they go back and forth with the client until we get everything. And so
Oh,
that role, you're really looking for like an onboarding specialist. We actually have a playbook. I'm actually just going to click a button on the camera while I'm still talking. Hopefully you can hear me.
sure.
An onboarding specialist that is the playbook we have in Outsource School that
Okay.
should teach you exactly how to do that. And you want someone who's good at voice, good at email, good at writing, someone who's done that for other businesses before. My personal favorite is hiring someone who's done like agency onboarding. Maybe they worked for like a marketing agency or something along those lines. I set them up with Dialpad. Dialpad's a cool tool where you can get them to make phone calls and text messages, and it's super cheap. I think we pay $30 a month, but it comes like you set up a US number. So we're in Denver, my VAs are texting the client, it comes from a Denver number, and it's all in one place. I can see the text, other people on the team can see the text, and it's a nice little setup. So that's kind of my overview, but happy to answer any questions to dive deeper into that.
Wow, that is great. The dial pad, is that for texting and what? Texting and
Uh,
calling?
yeah, you can do texting and calling, and it just connects to their Wi-Fi.
Ah.
There's other ones too. Ring Central is probably the most popular one. Not my
Mhm.
personal favorite, but there's people that really love Ring Central. And there's other ones too.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Sounds good. So the onboarding specialist, what do they do? They're they got to get the client settled in.
Yeah, so in our situation, that the client's already gotten a quote, they've added a payment method, they have had or we're trying to get them to where they get a kickoff call with our team. But before we have a kickoff call, we need view-only access to all their banks. We need last year's tax return. We need articles of organization. You know the drill. So you
Right.
have a certain checklist of stuff you need, and it's
Yep.
their job to get it all. And then a nice thing that we do is we offer the client $100 if they get us everything within 5 days without us having to hop on
Ah,
a call. So it kind of speeds everything up. And then the integration person is there to kind of push the client along. We'll send follow-up emails, follow-up texts. Anytime they get something from the client, they don't just trust that the client did it. They actually open up the document, open up view-only access, verify that we actually have it. If a client sends us a bunch of statements, they open each one and make sure a month isn't missing to make sure we have the full picture. And I think the step before that I missed is we have them confirm all their accounts. So we'll say, hey, we looked at your QuickBooks, we looked at your pricing form. Here's all your banks, here's all your credit cards, here's all your processors. Are there any ones here that are missing that you don't use anymore that are really personal accounts? And make sure we have that complete list. And
yeah.
then once we have that list, then they create an integration document with step by step on how to get us everything, send
Mhm.
that to the client. Then they go back and forth to get everything. And then once we have everything, and only once we have everything, do we send them a link to book a kickoff call with our team.
Wonderful. Wow. We could use an onboarding specialist, but I don't know what we'd call them if they're a recurring client and we need stuff from them.
Yeah, I
Is
mean,
there a
in your
different name?
so I mean, the name doesn't matter. You can call it whatever you want, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's someone, and it kind of our integration person. Yours is a little bit more. Let me put it this way. So in our situation, clients get assigned a bookkeeper after they have the kickoff call. So it's
Okay.
actually the bookkeeper who follows up with the client each month for statements they need, stuff like that. But there will be situations where we lose view-only access to a client's bank randomly. And in that situation, the bookkeeper would go to the integration specialist and say, hey, we need this access back. Can you handle this for me so I can keep focusing on bookkeeping? And the integration manager will put the steps together, talk to the client, hop on a call with the client if needed to get it fixed, and then go back to the bookkeeper and say, hey, it's all fixed. So it's the same type of role. You might use them more frequently for ongoing clients, but it's all the same thing.
Okay. Okay. Sounds great.
Yeah.
Any other suggestions you have that you really find everyone struggles with?
Yeah, I mean, other things for this role, you want them to be able to speak English well, do a Zoom with them, make sure that they can speak and write, give them some test emails. The normal range is usually in that $5 to $8 an hour range for someone with experience. For anyone in Outsource School, if you have a job posting that you want us to take a look at, you can always email it to support@outsourceschool.com and we'll give you feedback on it. And you really want someone that the whole role is attention to detail. Hey, Gary, how's it going?
Good. How's it going? Sorry, I'm a little late.
Going. No, you're good. If someone doesn't have attention to detail, they're going to fail in that role. They're going to bomb because it's all about the nitty gritty. The client sent us 11 statements. Which month is missing out of the 12? Like, you need someone who really can dive deep and find every little detail. And a lot of times clients, they hate bookkeeping, they hate accounting. So they're not on top of their own stuff and they don't really know what's going on. So you need someone who can read between the lines and not just take what the client's saying and dig into it themselves to figure it out.
Right. That sounds good. That sounds great. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no problem. To catch you up to speed, Gary. So today is all about ask me anything. So anything business, hiring, virtual assistants, whatever. Kathy runs an accounting business. I actually own a bookkeeping business, two econ balance and accounts balance. And we were talking about the integrator role for onboarding new clients. So that's what we were talking about. But if you have a certain question or topic, or anything Outsource School related that you want to dive into, I think we're good to switch over.
Yeah, I mean, if I do have questions, I don't want to, but yeah, I don't know if it's okay to just start shooting or.
Yeah, start shooting.
So I've gone through the interview process. I did job postings, and I got a lot of really good candidates. I used the free up platform, and I was just blown away by the candidates that I got. So I used the Outsource School template. That was super helpful. I guess my question though is, I actually think I'm gonna pull the trigger on two, but for the second role, Nate, I'm really torn between two candidates, and I guess each one has their strengths. Both are high attention to detail. One is located very close to Manila, actually pretty much in Manila. The other is 10 hours north of it. But both of them are very strong candidates. And I'm having a hard time coming to a decision. I want to come to a decision today. How do you go about that when you have two really strong candidates, but one position to fill?
Yeah. Well, what's the role?
This is going to be daily bookkeeper.
Daily bookkeeper. Got it. Yeah. I mean, my favorite thing to do in that situation is give each of them a paid test task. Like for a bookkeeper, you can have them reconcile an account, get your report, like have them do something. If it was like a video editor or graphic designer, I would just give them something paid to do and evaluate the work off of that. And you can set it up to add extra stuff too. Like, I don't know if your bookkeeper is going to be writing emails or something, or like you could be like, hey, do the books and send me a Loom video explaining it to me, showing me that you understand it. So something extra that's like paid time where you're going to be able to see, hey, who do I want to work with more? And I think the other side is just figuring out, like, what does your perfect person look like? What are the skills they have? What is the time zone they're working? What's their communication style? Like, what are the fine details that would make this person a rock star for you where you're super happy, and try to narrow it down further on which one of those has those skills.
Okay. Gotcha.
That makes sense?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of like bookkeeper, because you have like one set of books and how you could do that. I mean, you could give them like a past month to do, be like, hey, like you do June of last year, you do April of last year, send me a updated P&L for each one and just see who comes back better. And if one comes back from with mistakes or anything like that.
Yeah, I think what's going to be helpful is I've standardized across all my clients. I've really standardized my offering, so the tasks across my various clients is they're pretty much. I mean, I'm also niched in an industry, so that's helped. But
Sorry,
yeah, no, I
is this
just that's
a bookkeeping business you own, or are you talking about your
so
own internal books?
I no nope. I have I'm a CPA. I have an accounting firm, and I have I'm all construction clients, and so I'm using them to do the daily bookkeeping under me for certain clients that have that service level.
Got it. Got it. Yeah. So that, I mean, that's a little easier because then you can, if you already have a client that's established, maybe an easier one, you could just have them do the next month's books paid and just see how it goes and choose from there, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's great. That's a good idea. I'll take care. I'll probably put that out today then. And,
One of the things that I've heard of, I haven't used it personally, is accountanttests.com. And they have accounting tests for them. And then
Yeah.
that way you're matching them up, apples to apples.
yeah,
That's great.
yeah, I'll
Sorry,
have to check that
jump
out.
in, Gary.
Yeah, no, that's
Yeah.
perfect. I'm gonna check that out.
Yeah.
So what we do is we build our own test. We give it to each bookkeeper, and then we have a bookkeeper evaluate the test. You guys can evaluate the test. I'm not a bookkeeper, so I need another bookkeeper to evaluate the test. But yeah, I mean that same concept. Having that test is always a good idea. We actually put that. If you want to talk about order, if someone fills out a type form of like answering our questions, tell us about yourself, your experience, stuff like that. If we like that type form and it's a match, the rate's a match, the hours, all of that, then we give them the test. And only once they pass the test do we interview them. If they don't pass the test, it's not worth our time interviewing them. So it's kind of like valuing your time at the highest possible level.
Yeah.
Makes
And
sense. I don't know if you have any follow-up questions on that.
from what I gather, you can ask for account tests. You can also ask for a volume discount if you're planning on hiring more people in the future. You can do that as well. So you can see, because they have different tests. But I know that was one of them.
It was like I say, I mean, I've got the two at the daily bookkeeping role, and then actually one of the people that I talked to and interviewed was he's a CPA equivalent, and when I spoke to him, I realized, and he's got niche knowledge in my industry. He knows my industry.
There.
So I made the decision that we're just going to go ahead and create a position for him because I know like he's perfect.
Yeah.
So and just in talking with him, he's very technical. So
see, that's
that was
great.
A good fun.
That'll allow you to move away from the business better.
Nice.
Yeah, it's been a fun adventure, Nate. I'm not gonna lie, I've really enjoyed doing this. I don't know, Kathy, how it's been for you. I feel like shockingly, I mean, I'm come from Kathy. I don't know what your background is, but I come from public accounting. It's amazing. It's like this isn't even on the periphery. But
are you new to it? Are you new to owning your own business?
No, I've owned it I mean, I tried once and failed in 2017. But then I actually own two different firms based in different areas of the country. And so, no, I've had those for a few years now, and it's scaled it pretty quickly. So now I'm just trying to build something even bigger with outsourced talent, which I think is important.
Yes, we have outsourced in the past, and we're good with it. It's picking the right people, and they can make a lot of things happen for you. And I've been in business almost 40 years. So
How has the clients handled it? How have your clients been with it? Are they okay with the
Pretty
auction?
good. Well,
Yeah.
what we do is, well, we let them know that we have people who are outsourced. That's because that's the norm right now. They don't know they're still employees. So, there's a lot of people who even put the person's picture on their website showing them that they're part of the team and stuff. So that works out just fine. And we make sure we give them an email, and we're working on, they usually do communicate with the client on email, which makes it really nice. We need these things, you're missing July's bank statement.
Yeah, and you can
Yeah.
hire for other roles too, not just bookkeepers. Like we talked about, the integration person that onboards clients, has a checklist, gets all the view-only access, sets up a call with them to connect stuff if needed, and then he can kind of assist your bookkeeper. So if you're hiring an outsourced bookkeeper for, I don't know, $8 to $15 an hour, you can slide someone else in there in that $5 to $10 an hour to help the bookkeepers out, to let the bookkeepers focus on their high level tasks and not have to do all the nitty gritty stuff that sometimes comes along when you're doing monthly bookkeeping or taxes or whatever.
Yeah.
Nate and Kathy, I don't know. I mean, you guys have, I think you're obviously further along on the journey, the outsource journey, than not myself, but one of the things that I'm finding, I think, Nate, I don't know if I might have asked this. I'm using a virtual desktop setup where they're going to portal into a virtual environment.
Yep.
That's solidly secure. I don't know if you guys are using that. If you had any insights on that, Nate and Kathy, on what you saw there, or how you've set this up.
Yeah, we set it up by portal too.
Okay.
And a client portal, but we name it for them. So that all the stuff goes through that portal. And that works out really well.
Are you guys using QuickBooks Desktop or online?
A lot of it is online. We have a few on desktop, but that can be handled as well. So it works. Are you using something particular?
No, so I mean, we use QuickBooks Online, and then the bookkeepers only have access to their clients. So if each bookkeeper has 10 clients, they only have access to those clients' books, and then we have backups running for all the books. In the crazy situation that something happens, we can always go back to the backup.
Yep.
Yeah.
And keep in mind, we're only doing bookkeeping, not tax. So, I mean, our bookkeepers don't really have access to that much sensitive data. We only have view-only access to our clients' banks and credit cards. They can't move money or anything. We're not doing billing. We're not paying vendors. So it's strictly just like access to the data to do the bookkeeping.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah.
Now, Nate and Kathy, do you guys use, so like one of the practice management softwares that I will be plugging them into day one is Carbon. I don't know if you guys are using something similar or.
We use TaxDome.
TaxDome? Yep, I've heard of TaxDome.
Yep.
Got it. We are not using that. I'll have to look into it.
Yeah.
Oh, Nate, you should check out Carbon, man. It's awesome.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, what are the benefits of Carbon? What does it do?
So Carbon, what you can do is, so like for every one of my clients now, the client gets to push an email with their daily checklist, or with their monthly checklist, their weekly checklist, their quarterly checklist, and they can actually upload the needs directly to that email. From there, it can be assigned to whomever you'd like it to be assigned to. So in my case, like my sister is actually one of the people who works for me. She's into Carbon. I can easily assign a client response in an email. Like, let's say they ask me to do something, I can then do @Sarah, I need you to take care of this. But then also she'll also have access to anything they may upload. So like when I do my onboarding, I have an onboarding template. Like I need these standard 10 to 15 things. Client, it gets pushed to them automatically, and the client self-manages it. Clients love it. They really love it.
Yeah.
Nice. I'll check it out. For us, like we built our own client portal, so we're using that and kind of building it out. So I don't know if it kind of goes against that, but I like the concept of it. I'll check it out.
Carbon, I think it's a per user platform fee.
Yes.
So But I'll tell you, and then I use Practice Ignition for my engagement letters, which works really nice with Carbon, because when they sign an engagement letter, then they get pushed into Carbon, and my standard onboarding template pushes out to the client once they sign that Practice Ignition engagement letter.
Got it.
That's great. That's similar to what TaxDome does. And
Yeah.
then we have e-signatures. We've got pay online invoicing there. They're coming out with text messaging, SMS, text messaging for the clients as well. And they're starting their own proposal program as well. Proposal estimates and proposals.
Nate, and I'm sorry, I know I'm the one asking all the questions. So
no,
Nate,
ask away.
Are you, like Kathy, I know you said you have some desktops. I actually force, if a client hires me, wants to hire me, I force them on to QBO. So it's a requirement. You can't work with me without it.
Yeah.
So I wasn't sure, Kathy, if you're starting to do. Yeah, Nate, I was going to ask you, Kathy.
Yeah, we try and move them right into QuickBooks Online. If they've used desktop and they're not sure, it's like, let's go.
Yeah. I use the scare tactic, Kathy. I tell them, look, and because it's true, like I always tell them, like, Sage is killing QuickBooks right now in a desktop.
Yeah.
So that Intuit is abandoning even enterprise. That's going to be gone by 2030.
Yeah.
And then people don't realize that.
Yeah.
So I use the scare tactic.
You guys use Sage at all or no?
No, I don't use it.
No,
Sage.
neither.
I want to break into it, Nate, for construction. The problem is it comes with a hefty price tag. It's like 20 grand a year. However, the developers in Sage are 10 times the developers in QBO. So that product is Sage Intact. I have experience with it. It is 100 times what QBO is. It's really an impressive software, and it eliminates the need for probably 30 to 40% of my tech stack, because it can all come into Sage.
Got it.
So, like, I wouldn't need Fathom. I use Fathom for financial analysis.
Fathom too.
Planning. Yeah, I love Fathom.
Yeah.
But you don't need that with Sage Intact. Uncat, I use Uncat. You don't need Uncat with
We use that too.
Sage Intact. Uncat's amazing, right?
Zenit is another good one we use.
What is it?
Zenit?
Oh, yes.
Zenit, I haven't heard of Zenit.
It's good for book reviews. It like finds all the errors in your books real quick.
I gotta check that out.
Yeah, and it's not spelled the way it sounds. What's the spelling for it? Isn't it
Xennet? I don't know if there's two T's or one T, but something like that. The owner of it is super nice too. If you reach out to him on LinkedIn or whatever, they're a smaller company.
XNENNET, I think.
Okay.
I can't remember.
It's incredible the applications that they're coming on for the add-ins. Like, I think Uncat is like the greatest thing since sliced bread. I just think it's so incredible. And Kathy, if you're a tax practitioner, what I like about it is the client documents their response. There it is. It's housed directly with the transaction. So if the client's ever audited and for whatever reason it's a negative audit outcome,
right?
Hey, client.
There it
Here's
is.
your response.
Yeah.
We'll love it.
Yes.
Nice. Yeah. What other questions do you guys have?
Wow, this has been an enjoyable session.
I know. It's not often I get to hang out with two accountants, bookkeepers. So I've enjoyed it.
So Nate, I know you said like with NDAs and just agreements in general, like it's like you're not going to chase them around the world, right? What I found when in talking to my insurance, though, and I think we talked about this, I'm like, I agree with you. It's like, I mean, am I going to go chase somebody around the world? No, probably not. I mean, but what I do find is the NDAs. What my insurance company said to me is that, you know, you like if you have those NDAs, it'll strengthen if there's an insurance claim against you. And Nate, I think it's probably more risk for like me and Kathy being tax practitioners, but I don't know if you experienced that either. Like, hey, the NDA is actually strengthening your position with the insurance company.
Well, let me ask you this: do you actually have insurance that's going to cover your Filipino staff? What insurance do you use?
I use Cox, and so here's the rule with I was on the phone with them a lot, and Kathy, you might be able to offer insight into this. So it doesn't matter who is performing the work, as long as that individual is doing the exact same work I do. So bookkeeping, payroll, or tax, doesn't matter where they are in the world. It's a matter of location. If the suit is brought against you in the United States, you're covered. If it's brought against you in the Philippines, you're not. And there's no insurance company that's going to insure that.
Right.
So all of my practice, my engagement letters explicitly state, if you're going to bring a claim against me, you have to bring it in the state of New Hampshire.
Right. There you go. And what's your insurance company?
I'm using Hiscox. So
Hiscox.
I got away from, so Hiscox is really good. I know the AICPA is like doing their own thing, Kathy, where they're trying to do it. They've been blasting me every day, but Hiscox is really good with professional liability. But where I also found they were insuring pretty heftily is when I was doing employee retention credits for some of my clients.
Right.
So they were handling all that. Nate, I really think maybe that could be good for even for you though, is like Hiscox is a really good insurer for accountants, bookkeeping firms, and CPAs. They're known for professional service companies. So it's worth checking out.
I'll check it out. I'm always skeptical, to be honest, that like, let's say the worst did come into play and we got sued for some reason, and we're like the person in the Philippines did the work, that the insurance would try to find a way to get out of that in some way. But yeah, I don't know. When I was looking into it, it was honestly very hard to find anyone that would cover employees outside of the US, VAs outside of the US, but I'll check them out.
Yeah, I think it also too with insurance companies, it comes back to your contracts, both your internal contracts and your external contracts. And so what I found, and again, these are just based on the research I did, the strength of my engagement letters and ultimately the strength of my employee agreements or my freelancer agreements, those are going to dictate how easy it is for my insurance carrier to cover my claim. So if I'm doing the right things, like making sure I have certain verbiage in my engagement letters, making sure I have certain verbiage in my NDAs, the insurance company is going to be able to argue or to cover that a lot more easily.
Right.
Yeah, makes total sense.
Yeah. True.
Cool.
True.
What other questions or topics do you guys have?
So Nate, again, I'm sorry, Kathy, but just shut me up if I'm asking.
No. Go right ahead.
So Nate, have you guys? I know as the founder of FreeUp, but so for FreeUp, have you guys? Like one of the things I'm looking at for my two that I'm going to pull the trigger on, I've been pretty straightforward, and I've been honest with FreeUp too. Like the roles that I'm looking at, I'm likely going to be buying them off the platform if they are good fits. So I'll be paying the buyout. And so have you had any experience with that? Is FreeUp usually very good to work with on that side of things?
I have not used FreeUp yet. So I'm just learning about them because I've been going through, we used to have GKM and I didn't care for them at all, but they managed the people there. So, you're buying a BPO really. Gotcha. Right on their site. So that didn't work so well. We moved to a different onboarding, a different sourcer. I can't even remember the name because I don't.
So they're blowing you away, apparently.
Entity Integrity, and they're pretty good. We've had they interview people that are not working for them, a lot of them, and they bring them in and you're going to interview them. Well, some of them, it just didn't work out. And a lot of it is in India. And we're finding the language barrier, even though they're speaking English, is not, it's very, very challenging. We interviewed one person and my senior staff and accountant and we got off the interview, and I said, I couldn't understand a single word.
Yeah.
I was totally lost. They talked, and it was like I was lost. So it's like, this is not going to work. So they had to hunt for other people for us. But I really want to make the shift to the Philippines because I do know that, the language is very, very close to ours. That's their second language, if not their first anymore. So it makes it nice to have that. Besides that, you're really hiring the person.
Yeah,
You
I agree
really,
with all
really
that.
are. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, in terms of free up buyout, again, I sold free up in 2019. So,
Oh,
but I mean, we had people that bought VAs and freelancers out, and it went really well. So, Alex Shalinsky, who is a client of Outsource School, a client of Econ Balance, and a client of Trio SEO, my other company, he bought out a freelancer, Jennifer, from Free Up years ago when I was still there, and she's still with him today. So that's probably the best story I've heard. But yeah, I mean, it's all about, like, if you're upfront with Free Up and they're cool with it. I don't know if they changed the buyout terms. Like, I know what it was when I was there. They might have changed it since then. But just make sure like the freelancer is good with it. And the last thing you want to do from your side, the biggest risk is you buy them out and then the person quits on you, and then you're kind of in a hole. So that's the thing that you just want to try to avoid at all costs.
yeah.
So Kathy, I'm going to tell you, I highly recommend Free Up. The
See.
candidates that I've gotten,
Mhm.
I've been just very impressed with them. I mean, there's going to be some investment in some of them. Nobody's perfect, and some of them, they all seem to have, like, when I ask them, like, I can tell when somebody doesn't know accounting, right? I've been doing it for
Right.
15 plus years, so
Yes.
um, and I know when I'm sitting across from a rock star, right? So like the one that I've looked, that's the CPA equivalent, I'm like, that's a rock star.
Yes.
His problem is he's also stereotypical accountant, but that's okay. I can work with
Right.
that. But I highly recommend it because, so Nate, the buyout terms are $5,000 if you want to buy them off the platform, which to me, like, that's short money. If they're a rock star, there is no price limit on the rock star.
Right.
Well, for that reason, but, I am very forward with I'm very upfront with everybody. I'm like, listen, the role is this right now. I'm productizing, I'm standardizing, and so the role is going to very quickly in the next 6 months, going to be 40 plus hours a week. At which point I'm not going to keep you on. I'm not going to want you to stay on Free Up. I'm actually going to approach Free Up. I'm going to take you off the platform and put you under my business. I mean, they're going to get an email anyway through my Microsoft accounts, and anyway, but so Nate, I have been very thorough about that. It's a way that I've vetted a couple. I mean, this morning I had one and I immediately passed because she wasn't willing to come off the Free Up platform, and that's fine. That's great. I don't mind. I really appreciate the honesty up front.
Yeah. I think that's the same buyout that we had. I think that sounds
Yeah.
exactly the same.
Is
So.
there a charge for the platform?
So it's free to sign up. It's free to like meet people, and then you just do the billing through the platform, and they take a percentage of each hour worked.
Ah, okay. How high is it? Their
Again, they might have
percentage.
changed the fees. For us, it was a $2 minimum per hour or 15%, whichever is more.
Mhm.
I think it's very reasonable, Kathy, when you consider it's
Yeah.
like the CPA equivalent that I'm looking at hiring, like, he's $12 an hour, and I'm sitting back like, and he is very, very good with 17 years of experience, very good English. I beat him up accounting wise. He answered every question better than I would have. So I'm sitting back like,
wow. Yeah. See, he may end up being the department head for everybody
well,
in the
his
Philippines.
his only drawback was he only wanted to work day during the Manila during the Philippine days,
Right.
and the way that I put it with him, and Nate, I know we talked about, you do a lot with the graveyard shift, but what I said to him is, you're 17 years in, this is the direction of my company. So the problem with that, right, is like there is a way that I approach things that I'm going to want him to adhere to,
Right.
but he seems like he is obviously somebody who's going to assimilate to that, but while
Right.
keeping his methods. But I told him I don't care that he works the Manila day,
Right.
doesn't or the Philippine time day. It doesn't bother me at all as long as he slots 3 to 4 hours during the week for me and him to collaborate and to go through. And plus, I have to train him on my platforms. Like he hasn't used Fathom, he hasn't used Uncat, he hasn't used like he's used QBO, but he hasn't used some of the ancillary things.
Hmm.
Makes
Yeah.
sense.
Okay. That sounds
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, no, it sounds good. We also kind of adjusted the graveyard shift, so they work mornings, Mountain Time, so they're all off by like noon, 1 o'clock. So it's kind of an overlap, which works pretty well.
Mhm.
Cool.
Oh, yeah,
I
I
do have
forgot
to
that you're
wrap
on
this up.
Mountain
I
Time.
gotta. Sorry, what were you gonna say?
I forgot that you're on Mountain Time, Nate.
Yeah, I'm on time. I'm happy to answer any last questions. I got another call.